How you? How you doing? You all right there? Hey, tell me this much. Is this actually going out? It's a couple of things I thought were worth talking about before the weekend, hence the something for the weekend title. I'm not returning to these morning live streams anytime soon. I think it is. Isn't it funny now? I can't get it on my phone, but I can get it on my computer. I don't know. I hope it's streaming anyway, and it's okay. I made a bit of an Egypt of myself this morning. I went to my local park with my dogs, and I thought while I was there for the crack, for the hell of it, for shits and giggles, I thought to myself, switch on the live stream now using your phone and have a chat walking around the park. The problem was, with the 4G connection, it was in and out. I didn't have much bandwidth. I didn't have much upload speed, so the resolution of my little film was really bad, and it buffered for people. But it wasn't a bad idea. And yeah, so I think it uploaded to YouTube later on. I have no idea. Friday, May 1st, 2020. It's a bit grim out there. It's intermittent showers. That's what it is. Intermittent showers. Good job. Hey, there's something I wanted to show you for the crack. It just one of those surreal things. Can you hear me? You can. Can you hear me? Yeah, get that microphone there. It hasn't gotten any better since the last one. I told you before, it is the worst live stream in YouTube history. Everything you're ever told not to do when you are learning about broadcasting. Can you hear me? Rule number 1, when you're interviewing somebody live on air and you say hello to them and they're not there, don't keep saying, can you hear me? Just stop, play a record and figure it out. But this is garbage. We don't mind. Something that I finished up the radio show. Yeah, I didn't have the best day I've ever had yesterday. Number of reasons. And nothing too serious. Just one of those. We all have them. You wake up and it just starts going wrong from minute 1, right? I had one of those yesterday. And I am loath to say, well, I'm just going to take the day off. I won't do that. I have to have a really good reason to take a day off. And being pissed off is not a good enough reason to take a day off. But it was one of those days. And hope I'm not getting any cable rattle there. I mean, I said this before about the Twilight Zone. You know, our lives are beginning to resemble an episode of the Twilight Zone or Black Mirror. This is true. Maybe some people enjoy that aspect of it. Maybe there are people who are enjoying the ride. As terrifying, as tyrannical as it is, maybe there are people going, great. It's just like being in the movies. Maybe it is. But this was extraordinary. This here. Right? I mean, can you read that? That's bbc.co.uk/news. It's the BBC's main news page, the website. And a couple of minutes to 8 o'clock last night, this was what people saw if they went on to the BBC website news page. And I sat there stunned. Honestly, for a couple of minutes, I was stunned. Homes across the UK prepared to clap for carers. That's bad enough. But scroll on down. We'll be bringing you live updates as it happens. The clap. But for now, here's what last week's clap looked like. Last week's clap was a 45-year-old prostitute on Earlham on the Height in Salford, as far as I'm concerned. It's astonishing that we're here, isn't it? That's the thing, really. don't be too down and depressed about it. Just marvel at the fact that we've arrived here. We're going to bring you live updates of the clap. Live updates. How do you fucking live update people about a clap? How do you do that? Well, it's obvious how they do it. That was Michelle there in Milton Keynes. It's off to Damien now, who's in Edinburgh. Damien, what's happening? People are clapping. They're clapping in Edinburgh. They're clapping, Fiona. And there's a real sense of community here. People are clapping and they're banging pots and pans and basins and cups and glasses and everything they can in appreciation for our carers. Back to you at studio, Fiona. Thanks, Damien. We're off to Cardiff now. To Daffit. How you doing, Daffit? I'm in the final now. Well, they're clapping, Fiona. They're clapping. I love that. For now, we'll show you what last week's clap looked like. Yeah. Sure, you know. It's a bit mad. How do you give live updates on people clapping? So it's all a bit mad. One or two things I thought worth looking at today before they get lost over the weekend. And one of the things I wanted to talk about has in fact disappeared off the Mail Online, dailymail.co.uk. It's still there, but it isn't prominent in the feed. So you go to dailymail.co.uk, there's a feed of stories. Right, boom. Stories, one after the other. And last night I saw this story and I drew attention to it as best as I could on Twitter because it's very prescient. It's important because we've been talking about it on the radio show. Let's get rid of the clap story. But for now, let's look back at last week's clap. Brilliant. I do understand that people are becoming less enthused about the clap done previously. I think people are a bit fed up now. Hopefully they are. And hopefully they're beginning to see through it. This is the story anyway. It's very, very important, okay? It's one thing for the Daily Mail to report on this. It's necessary now that this is followed up on. And I have sent emails to the Daily Mail today. Nice emails. Saying, please expand, please follow up on this story. It's very important. And it is the story of how the chief executive of DeepMind has been invited to these secretive SAGE meetings. The Special Advisory Group. SAGE is a group of scientists and experts or useful idiots that has been convened to guide the government through the coronavirus response. And it's been controversial, justifiably, understandably, because they've kept the names of some of the members of the group secret. I understand today, Friday, the government is going to be a bit more forthcoming in talking about who's on this special advisory group. It's very bright behind me. I'm sorry about that. There isn't anything I can do about it. You might be getting a shine off of my baldy bonce there. I might be glaring. It might be glaring in your face there. So here's the story. Pictured alongside the... Is it Demis Hassabis? Is that the guy's name? Demis Hassabis. That's the guy. Pictured alongside him is Boris Johnson's pal Damien Cummings. And Dominic Cummings, of course. The media has tended to focus on their, questions around why Dominic Cummings was at SAGE when he's not a scientist. I would say it's much of a muchness. It doesn't really matter whether he is or whether he isn't. But they focused on that. But last night the Mail said, what is the DeepMind artificial intelligence guy doing at the meetings? Now, I can't profess to know. Of course, I don't do that. I'll never do that. I'll never, make statements. I don't know what he's doing there. But I feel pretty safe in my opinion I feel pretty safe to express what I think. That is that he's got no fucking business advising the government on its response to coronavirus. It's very, very sinister. If you get a chance, I hate referring to my own work. I've never done that. I don't like referring to my own work because I don't know very much, you see. I like referring to the guests who've been on the programme. They obviously are what matters. But not last Sunday View, but the previous one, I looked at Oxford University, didn't I? And its own relationship with a company called Vaxitech, which is developing a vaccine. That's what Vaxitech does. It develops vaccines. And I'm trying to find the name of this woman now. I'm not doing a bloody good job of it. I don't mind telling you. Is it Sarah Gilbert? Is it? It's Sarah Gilbert, isn't it? I do have the occasional recall, which surprises even me. Sarah Gilbert, Oxford woman. Vaxitech is a company which has had huge investment from Google Venture. Google Venture is an arm of Alphabet, which is the overall parent thing. And Alphabet also owns DeepMind. These are the things that you wish your people like Robert Peston and Laura Koonsberg and Nick Robinson and Kay Burley and Adam Bolton. These are the things you wish. I don't wish anymore because I know it's never going to happen. But I once wished that they would challenge the government on, you know, because leaving aside the work of Zed Phoenix, whom was one time known as Ben Fellows, of course. That's an interesting one, by the way. I've seen quite a bit of criticism of Zed Phoenix's appearance on my programme. The criticism being that he was once in the national news because of an accusation he made about former Home Secretary Kenneth Clarke. He alleged that he was assaulted by Clarke. He's a former child actor, Ben Fellows. He's now changed his name to Zed Phoenix. And the absolute result of those allegations was that they weren't taken any further, but the court determined that Ben Fellows or Zed Phoenix wasn't perverting the course of justice. Seemingly they believed that he believed it, even if they don't believe it happened. Now, I couldn't give a shit really about what somebody has done in the past. What I mean by that is in terms of whether he has given interviews in the past about certain things, if he's taken part, if he's worked with certain groups of people, doesn't concern me. The guy put together a very, very, very good YouTube presentation. The first one that I saw him do, where he connected the UK vaccine network to Bill Gates, and it was a very sound bit of journalism. So he came on with me to talk about that, and he did a good job of it. What people think of him in terms of what he's done previously, I couldn't give a shit, to be honest. I never have done. I made it very clear at the very beginning of the interview that his name used to be Ben Fellows. Now, since then, Zed's made some more videos, and I understand that he's made a claim in one of them about some amendment to the law in this country, which he claims paves the way for mandatory vaccination. And I know that some of you don't believe that he has proven that. I don't know. I will ask him, and we'll find out. That's the way we do it. But when he came on with me, it was pretty sound. He talked about Gates. And I know I'm segueing again. I always do that. But the reason I'm doing that is because you look at Sarah Gilbert, Oxford, Vaxitech, you get to Google Venture, you get to DeepMind. These are the questions the UK media heavyweight presenters should be asking, because they are the most vital questions. You know, it's in the press again today. Talked on the radio show last night about Pascal Soriot or Soriot. French-based guy, sounds French, the chief executive of AstraZeneca. We are producing a vaccine now, he said. Producing one. We've got one. And we are administering it to people. We're doing the trial. And he said, we think it could be passed safe and passed as effective by June or July. And we could be sticking it in people in October. Yes, obviously the presenter, Ian King, business presenter on Sky, didn't ask him about the damage done to people by the swine flu vaccine. Can't be asking those questions. Nor did he ask him about his investors, which Pascal Soriot was very reluctant to mention. But then the Daily Mail, doing its job, was able to point out that this is a collaboration between Oxford, between GlaxoSmithKline, Beecham, whose chief executive is on the board of Microsoft, blah, 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 blah. DeepMind. Everybody in the United Kingdom today should be asking the question, what the fuck is an artificial intelligence guy who is determined to transform the human body through implanting things in human bodies to connect people to the cloud or to the hive mind, to give people a better chance, to enhance the human body? These are questions that beg to be asked, but they're not being asked. I can't read your comments. For some reason, I know I'm live, right? But for some reason, I'm not getting it. Oh, I'm getting it now. There you go, you see? I'm getting it now. Finally, I'm getting it now. Hi to Jennifer Garcia. How you doing, Jennifer? Hi to Mind Sense, to Rose Morales there, to Northern Soul. Anonymous in Western Massachusetts. How you doing, my friend? To Josh Ratcliffe, Lou Fontana. A lot of you there chatting away. Sean Hincliffe. Stuart Patchy. Lovely, lots of comments there. Chat away amongst yourselves. Mad, huh? These are weird times. These are weird old times. And they're scary times for people. I was out running earlier. I run every day. I've got to work hard to keep my body in the shape that it's in. This Adonis that you see before you, this beautiful man, it takes an incredible amount of maintenance to keep me looking as good as this. It really does. It takes a 5.5, 6 kilometre run pretty much every day. Now, this morning wasn't the first time it happened. It's happened a few times. But today, I'm running towards a guy down Regent Roadway. And as I'm approaching the guy in the footpath, the guy goes right to the edge of the footpath and basically steps out onto the road. Honestly, as a car is screaming past him. He nearly got killed, the guy. And I'm not known for my patience. And I'm not known for my tolerance of people, because I don't have much patience and I don't tolerate very many people. So I call him a fucktard. You mean me? And then I mumbled something at him about just don't have any more fucking children. And what it is it's just depressing to me to see people so fucking completely and utterly captured by this. They've swallowed it. Hook, line and sinker. You see them now, giving you dirty looks in supermarkets. I went to Lidl this morning. I'm not endorsing Lidl. I use any supermarket where there isn't a queue. There was another supermarket and there was a queue, so I went into Lidl. And there was an old battle axe, with the fucking blue rinse, giving me dirty looks as I was approaching her, as we were going down fruits and veg. And she's ahead of me. And I don't want any fruits and veg, because we got fruits and veg the other day. And she's like walking at 1.5 meters an hour. Like, excuse me, can I get past you there? She fucking looks at me like I've just called her cunt. Swallowed it, hook, line and sinker, terrified of proximity to other human beings. It's mad. It's mad, I tell you. Mad. Fucking guy nearly killed himself, jumping out of the way. I mean, I'm a big old lump, me. I'm not that fucking big, you know. Here's where it's all going, though. Here's where it's all going. I couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery. I really couldn't. Where's that feckin' thing? There's another really good story, and I've lost it, have I? Ah! I'm sure I downloaded it this morning. I'm sure of it. Hang on. There's a story about people. I wonder, can I get it from Twitter? Bear with me. I told you, this is the worst live stream in history. It is the BBG. It certainly is not the BBBC. Okay. Let's go. Profile. See, can I download it from my own Twitter? Because I put it on Twitter. Ah, there you go. You ready? I could sing a song while I'm doing this. I'm a very, very good singer as well. Very good. Right. Will coronaphobia stop the UK getting up and running? 60% of Brits would be uncomfortable going out even if it's safe. As ministers are warned, stay-at-home message has been too successful. Now, there's another story in the press today suggesting that there won't be any real relaxation or relaxing of the guidelines until we reach 1,000 deaths a day or lower. Don't waste your time shouting at me on the comments there. I'm well aware of the fact that there is great doubt about the numbers. I'm well aware of it. I'm reading from the mainstream media. What I'm interested here in is the notion that people are so scared shitless that they won't go out, that they have been institutionalized. I can buy that. I can buy it. I can buy it. That they've been so traumatized by the never-ending fear on their television channels, and it's not just the news channels either, it's everything. You know? You see these graphics, don't you? You go on to UK TV now. Stick on E4, which is a Channel 4 channel. One of the Channel 4 group of channels. E4. Put on ITV2. Put on ITV3. Put on Sky Arts. Up in the corner of the screen, it says stay at home. Oh, beat Jesus, huh? Can you believe me own dad did that to me, can you? It's insane. So yes, of course, I think people are scared now. Everybody I passed this morning in Lidl, honestly, all of them had masks on. All of them. The staff didn't. Very jovial, very, I had to say, very heartening welcome by the staff in Lidl, in Salford. Lovely people. But people walking around with face masks, frowning at people, frowning at me for not wearing a face mask. So I buy this. I buy it. That people are institutionalized and they will be scared now. What are the chances of me seeing Elton John and ELO in the winter? What are the chances? I've decided not to be depressed about this. You know from listening to the radio show that all the future Mrs. Allen and I do is we go to concerts. It's not a financially it's not an easy thing to do. It's expensive. We manage it just about because we don't do it more than 5 or 6 times a year, number one. Number two, none of us is a cigarette smoker. We're not massive drinkers. She doesn't drink at all, really. And we don't have any children. And in the last 12 months, we halved our living expenses by coming to Salford. So we can do it. It's not cheap. You know, you're paying 120, 130 pounds a ticket. It's not fucking cheap. And it hurts. But it's what we love to do. And we say, fuck all the begrudgers. You know, we don't have a big car. We don't go on holidays. We don't go on any holidays. So if we're going to treat ourselves, it's going to be to the concerts at the arena. Because we love it. I fucking love it. I live for it. I've seen everything at the arena in the last 3 or 4 years. Eagles, everybody. I fucking love it. There's nothing more amazing when the lights go down. 20,000 people at the arena. And on walks a superstar of yesteryear. It's amazing. I get a great kick out of it. And I love me music. Me music. So we've got tickets in hand for Elton John, ELO, and I think we might have a couple of cheap seats for Simply Red for this year. If you say anything about Simply Red, I'll find you. I'll fucking kill you. Did you hear me? Okay. I like a bit of Mick Hucknall. It's the way it is. But I'm wondering, will I be able to attend these concerts in the autumn? Probably not. They might not go ahead, of course. Primarily, number one, might not happen, number one. Number two, if they do go ahead, I'm thinking by then they might be saying about football, about music. At that stage, they might be saying you'll have to be able to show that you don't have the virus or you can't go. So you might have to consent to a test, or you might have to have the vaccine. Archie Hitler says Simply Red are rubbish. There's no accounting for taste, really. Archie Hitler, huh? So that's where we're looking. And why do I say that? Well, there's a story. What am I fucking doing here? I should be halfway to pissed out of my fucking mind. It's Friday. It's the only day I do have a sup. I should be sitting down there now. Film on telly. Bacardi and Coke in hand. Dogs in their beds or at feet. But here I am talking to you people. Here I am talking to you animals. Right. Football faces season behind closed doors. This is in the Times today. A proposal that next year the games are played in empty football stadiums. To go alongside that story, Sky Sports News is reporting this morning that in an attempt to complete this football season, which even though I am a die-hard Manchester United fan, and I am, and there was a time when I would have been rolling around, laughing my arse off to the point where I would need to be given oxygen to revive me at Liverpool's situation. 30 years without winning a league, you're just on the verge of it, and Boris fucking Johnson pulls the plug. Now, the irony about that is that Liverpudlians have, well, they've got good reason historically to hate Boris Johnson. They really do. Johnson took the piss out of Liverpudlians many years ago when they came together to have a vigil for a man called Ken Bigley, who was a contractor who was murdered in Iraq or Afghanistan, I can't remember. He was beheaded. And Liverpudlians were a bit upset. Now, Bojo, the straw-haired, scarecrow-headed bollocks that he is, actually had a bit of a fucking point. He was talking about grief culture. And he was talking about Princess Diana. All these people crying on the streets that had never met her. Right? Not getting into that now. I might upset some of my listeners. And he was expressing astonishment at all of these Liverpudlians openly wailing and keening about Ken Bigley. He had a point. But there's other reasons why they don't like him up there. And on the verge of winning their first league title for 30 years. With a very good football team. And a very likeable manager. Fucking kills me. Bojo went lockdown. And there's some doubt as to whether the season will be completed or not. Now, as a good sport, as a real sport, and as an honest broker football fan, just give them the fucking title. They've won it. Nothing was going to stop them. Give them the fucking trophy, let them have their parade and be done with it, right? But they're proposing next year. See, again, this is the segueing thing. What was I saying? Yes. We go back to where I came in. Sky Sports News is speculating this morning that there won't be any return to full training, let alone any attempt to complete this season's football matches, unless every player in every squad in the league is tested, is given the swab test. Stick a thing down the back of your throat. That was an unnecessary gesture, that wasn't it? Stick it right down the back of your throat, up your nose. It's very uncomfortable. I had it done once in my life. Some years ago I was struggling. They thought there might have been nodules on my vocal cords, which might have put paid to one of the greatest broadcasting careers in history. And they began by doing all of that. And then they gave me the nase endoscopy. What a horrible thing that is, the nase endoscopy. I've had the endoscopy where you swallow the camera. They look inside you. By the way, I had it fully awake. Fully awake. Not once, not twice, but thrice. Yes, never tell you any lies. Many years ago, abdominal pains. Had an appointment made for an endoscopy at Waterford Regional Hospital. This is years and years ago. And I was a resident DJ at the Reginald in Waterford City. And there was a doctor who used to attend the Reginald pretty much every Friday night. And his name was Omar. Bastards! Those foreign doctors coming into our country! He was an Indian doctor called Omar. And he was lovely. Loved Chivas Regal. Loved it. I used to say to him, that's piss, Omar. That is piss. Drink a single malt, man. You're a surgeon. You can fucking afford it. You tight bastard. And he was tight because I don't think he ever left a tip for any barman or barwoman ever. Bloody Indians. It's the Indians. So Omar said, I hear tell you're going for an endoscopy. I said, I am. He said, don't have the mild sedative that they give you. I said, why? He said, because it'll be very discombobulating for you. It's not nice. You'll be half conscious. And it'll be very gaggy and nasty and all that. He said, be a man. Don't take the sedative. So I said, fuck it. I was shitting myself now. Went to the hospital on the morning. They said, have you fasted? I said, yes, I have. They said, well, we'll get you ready now and the nurse will come in and we'll give you the sedative. And I said, no! No way! Omar said, don't have it. And they said, well, we really think you should have the sedative. I said, no! I'm not having it. So I went in and there was a big long wire, 2 wires together like this. And on the end of each wire was a little camera with flashing lights. And they said, basically, they put a plastic thing in my mouth there. And they said, go on then, try and swallow that. I fucking swallowed it. It was alright, lasted about 10 minutes. And I've had it done a couple of times since then over the years. Ulcer stuff. But I don't have an ulcer anymore. A friend of David Icke's called Mike. Some years ago, Mike said, take this powder, Richie, and your ulcer will be no more. I didn't even ask him what it was, I just took it. But the ulcer was no more. The answer to everything is homeopathy. Hope Hayden Hewitt's watching this. Right, anyway, so I segued into a completely fucking boring story there. Bored the shit out of you, really. Football behind closed doors. We are living in dystopian times. We're living in a tyranny now. And there's no opposition to it. There's none. None. The independent media cried, the independent media is worthless. Does that mean you, Richie? Yeah. For reasons that I've gotten into in the past. Yes, it's great to talk about these things. It's great to present a platform for an alternative point of view. But at some stage, people have to start doing things. It's no good to keep going to the high priests of the truth or industrial complex and giving them your money so that they can tell you what you already know. While at the same time telling you that they're so important that the elite is terrified of them. The elite is not terrified of anybody. It isn't. It's not terrified of any truther. It's not terrified of any independent media content creator. It's not terrified of any author. It isn't. It's not. The elite loves the truth or industrial complex. It loves it. Because it is a mire of quicksand and inertia. It's what it does. There's some very good men and women in it who've done some great things and who have put together bits of information and offered a theory or a thesis. Great men and women. Mentioned them on the programme before. But to suggest that the elite is terrified of them is a bit fanciful and a little bit, grandstanding, self-aggrandizing, a little bit narcissistic, really. It's at that point that the message and the information loses its importance and the truther becomes the story, not the information. We see that happening all the time and it's not good. It's not good. I'm not taking away from anybody in particular. The great work that they have done and might continue to do. I'm certainly not speaking about anybody in particular. Now I understand that David's Facebook page was deleted overnight by Facebook, which is a disgrace. Of course, it's a disgrace. And I like David and I like his family. And I go out of my way at times, when appropriate, to throw a nod to David's work. I always do that because it's the right thing to do. And sometimes I say something on my radio show and it's something I learned through reading a book by David or by somebody else. I will always credit them. And it's important. David is kicking and screaming about it on YouTube, I understand. Fair enough. It's not nice. But I wish, and I'm not just throwing this at David, I know I don't have anything to do with David. I've not had anything to do with him for 2.5 years. My parting ways with him wasn't in any way acrimonious, not in the least bit. I decided 2.5 years ago that I wanted to end my association with him and with his website. And I knew that when I did that it wouldn't be taken in the spirit in which it was meant. That's fine as well. That's all okay. I did it for several reasons. The most important one, of course, was that the program, I've been doing this type of program since my days in Spain when I had an enormous audience. Before I went to TPV and then hooked up with David there and then came to Manchester to do this totally independent radio show, but there was a feeling, I think, out there that the show was kind of indelibly linked or interlinked to David, which wasn't the case. And I had to pull back from it and say, no, that's not true. It's completely independent. Its editorial is determined by me and me alone. So I pulled away. But I always take the opportunity to congratulate the chap. And I read recently from Phantom Self. I read a chapter on air. So David's most ardent supporters will, of course, kick and scream and shout nasty things at me for what I said this morning and what I will say now. David didn't give a fuck. And it's not just David now. David's not guilty of this entirely on his own. The rest of what I call the truth movement, I didn't coin that phrase either, they scream about these things. But it's been happening to a lot of people who also had enormous channels, successful channels, and Facebook accounts. And nothing was said by people with huge followings like David has. That's the point I was making this morning on Twitter. I made that point. Of course it's wrong to delete the man's Facebook account. It's outrageous. And, you know, we need to have a bigger conversation about the power that is wielded now by Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. These are not, can't any longer be looked upon as independent companies or corporations. They are state-sized actors. They can't be allowed to do this. But again, we could have a longer and deeper conversation. These companies were created to corral or kettle the population of the world. Get us all into one place, and then you can pick people off one by one. Regardless of whether their message is valid or invalid or relevant or not relevant. There are people with far bigger Facebook followings than David Icke who didn't say anything half as interesting as David Icke, ironically, that have been booted off of Facebook for hate speech. Do you see what I'm getting at? David's work is relevant. And it's very interesting. And a lot of it is enlightening. But people who are not relevant or enlightening with massive channels and Facebook pages have been deleted. But when it was going on, nobody was saying anything about it. When my YouTube channel, which had 100,000 subscribers and was growing at the rate of 6,000 subscribers a month, was deleted for no fucking reason, nobody said anything about it. We should. I'll always come on, and I'm doing it today. And I did it when he was kicked out of Australia. I spoke about it on the radio show and I backed him up and I defended him. Because I will always do that. Don't have anything to do with him anymore and he doesn't have anything to do with me. And that's fine. That doesn't change how I see the guy's historical work, what he has banked. And I will always reference him when appropriate. But the notion that the elite is terrified of David Icke is fucking laughable. It isn't. It isn't. It's just doing what it does. It's not terrified of him. You know, it's not terrified of him. It's not terrified of me. And I don't put myself in David's category of recognition. David is recognised all over the world, of course. But they're not terrified of anybody. They're not. It's going according to the elite's plan. When they kick off somebody with as huge a following as David, what happens is inevitable. The commentator or the writer martyrs himself online. His followers get agitated and get angry. And ultimately, nothing happens. It's the way it's meant to be. sadly. So yeah, I'm pissed off that they're deleting people's Facebook accounts because they don't like what people are saying or the questions they're asking. I share David Icke's anger and annoyance that he's been booted off this morning, but put it into perspective. It's happening to a lot of people. There isn't any one man or woman who has a monopoly on the truth. There are no messiahs out there. There are some very good people asking some good questions. But everybody is being attacked and deleted and booted off. Everybody is being demonetised and marginalised. You know, when do I come on to the radio programme or the television programme and say that the elite is terrified of Richie Allen? Come on, you know. I could have done it last July when the UK Zionist lobby was threatening to have me killed. Was putting my phone number in the public domain. Put my fiance's picture and her phone number in the public domain. Tried to destroy me. Did I take that and come on to Twitter or Facebook and deify myself as some hugely important asset in the fight for truth? No, I didn't, because it's bullshit. Did anybody else shine any light last year on what was happening to me in July? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Because me reigns supreme in the independent media. It's all about me. Look at that breakdancing, punch bag punching fuckwit in London. The grey-haired guy in the suits. I'm the most dangerous man in the digital world. Me! Me! The information, the knowledge, the message doesn't become secondary, tertiary, or doesn't become fourth or fifth. It becomes irrelevant. Personalities rule. Look at me. Look at me. I'm a champion. Look what they're trying to do to me. Trying to destroy my business. The elite is terrified of me. No, they're not. Not now. Not ever. Because ultimately we all play into their hands. This is the inertia thing that I've talked about time and time and time again on my show. Inertia. Nothing happens. Non-violent civil disobedience beginning in your community, and by that I mean on your street, is the way out of this fucking totalitarian fuck show. That's how it begins. That's how it begins. It doesn't begin by sitting at home sharing videos from the Richie Allen radio show or sending me messages thanking me for what I do for humanity. I don't do a fucking damn thing. You know what I do? I satisfy my curiosity on my radio show Monday to Thursday. That's all I do. I don't do anything for you. I'm not so fucking arrogant that I would sit here and say, I do this for you. Satisfy my curiosity. Things are fucked up. Here's Rima Lebo. Rima, what the fuck? Here's Andy Kaufman. What the fuck? Here's David Icke. David, what the fuck? That's what I do. I'm no hero. I'm no star. I'm no warrior. I'm a big, thick, ignorant, bald fucking gammon bollocks in Salford who's curious and who has some skills that I can use to make a program to interview people, and I put it online, and it's costly, so I say to you, not often but sometimes, if you like it, and only if you like it, send it some money. But that's all I do. No mythomania, no megalomania. I don't mean anything. The information is the star, should be, used to be, always was, not anymore, but has to be again. And then people have got to do something with it. Not worship people. Whether it's Jordan Maxwell or whether it's the breakdancing, kickboxing wannabe in London, or anybody. That's identity politics. Step outside yourself. Have a look at yourself. And you'll realise it's not good. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think David Icke's a genius. I'll always believe that. But I don't like seeing, this triumphalism. And I don't like seeing this, the elite is terrified of me because they're banning my Facebook. Yeah. They tried to kill me last year, mate. But I'm not important. Doesn't make me important because they tried to kill me. They did try to kill me. Tried to drive me to commit suicide. Harassed my missus. The police had to be involved. Because they didn't like the fact that I was challenging the legitimacy of the State of Israel. And I was doing it very well. We need to get away from this mindset. We really do. And get back to actually speaking to one another face to face. Caring about people who live around us. Standing by them, standing up for them. Right? Rather than spending their fucking lives behind a keyboard or on a phone or on a tablet. Shouting at one another. Demanding free speech, but then getting upset when somebody says something you don't fucking like. Like some of David's hardliners this morning. Oh, what are you fucking... I'm not saying anything. I'm throwing a mild reproach at the guy. Not that he gives a fuck. Why should he? No more than I give a fuck. Let's get away from this me. Right? I could tell you stories that would make the fucking hair on your arse turn white. About some of the things that have happened to me since I came up here and started doing this radio program. But I won't, because it doesn't matter. Okay, I will continue to reference the old man on the Isle of Wight and recommend him when it's appropriate, because he deserves it. But nobody had anything to say last year when people were trying to kill me. I can't believe I'm even saying it out loud, because it's what happened. Nobody said a thing about it. But they scream now. Scream for attention. I fucking roared when thugs and tits like Tommy Robinson were demonetised. And Milo Yiannopoulos, another fuckwit with no brain, screamed as loud as I could with the little platform I have. It's not good enough. It's not acceptable. It's wrong. We need to have a wider conversation rather than wallow in self-adulation because we're being banned. Because we're being banned. Because we're being banned, or because our pages are being deleted. We need to have a bigger conversation about how it's got to this, where we're all in the same place, arguing with one another, and surrounding ourselves online, in this virtual world, surrounding ourselves with people who see the world exactly as we do, which is completely and utterly counterproductive. But it's what Facebook and Twitter was meant to do. Right? Right. A few comments there. I see there's a spineless wanker called Nuclear Jellyfish saying, God, you're bitter. You're deaf, mate. You're deaf or stupid or so fucking wallowing in hero worship that any modicum of intelligence has left your fucking arse. You shat it out a long time ago. You're deaf and stupid. Fuck off. Morons. Morons. Cult members. That's all you are. Start thinking for yourselves. Some of you. Stop being led by the fucking nose. By your hero of choice. Because I tell you something else. I lived with David Icke for a year. And the David Icke I know is the David Icke that I love. He doesn't want to be hero worshipped. Or at least he didn't when I knew him. What he thinks today, I have no idea. But the elite are not terrified of him. No more than they're terrified of Jim Mars or Jordan Maxwell or Zechariah Sitchin or I could be here all day long. Let's get out of identity politics now. Let's start to look at solutions. Solutions. Which begin with you understanding where you are, who you are surrounded by, their loves, their likes, their dislikes, their family, their needs. And that's how it begins. It really does. That's where it begins, because I'll tell you where it won't end. It won't end with keyboard warrior behaviour on Twitter or on Facebook or on Instagram. Okay? Okay. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock UK time for Sunday View. I hope some of this made some sense to you. Sorry for muting my mic. I'm going to go now and go for my afternoon walk with my dogs. I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Bye now. Look after yourselves.